All right, we're going to go ahead and start with one-step equations. This is a very basic, a very fundamental thing that is necessary for us to know. This is something that you should know already. So hopefully this is just a review for you, but let's go ahead and see and learn about one-step equations. First off, going back, I can solve one-step equations using inverse operations. That is going to be our goal for today. Right here, we'll put a star by. So we want to be able to say that by the end of this this lesson and after your homework. Okay, so some key vocabulary we need to know. Equations, that's a math sentence showing two things are equal. An example is x plus 3 equals 7. Just your basic equation. You've seen these for years and years. A variable is a letter that stands or represents a number. So for example, X, you could use any letter you can think of. We typically use X though, is the most common, but we'll use all sorts of letters to represent our variables. Next, we have a solution. Solution is just a value of the variable that makes the equation true. And then we'll use lots of inverse operations. Inverse operation is an operation that undoes, or it's the opposite. It undoes another one. So for example, the opposite of subtract is add, the opposite of multiply is divide, and vice versa. And then we're going to isolate. Isolate basically means being alone. So we're trying to get the variable to be by itself on one side of the equation. So we just have a couple steps. First, we identify the operation. So whether it's an add or a subtract or a multiply or divide. And then we're going to do the inverse operation. So we're going to do the opposite of that operation. Then we solve for the variable. Remember, when we're solving, whatever we do to one side of the equation, we have to do to the other side of the equation. And then last, we're going to make sure we check our solution. So let's look at a couple examples here. So first off, we have x plus 5 equals 9. So I see my operation right here is we're adding 5. So the inverse of addition is subtraction. So we're going to subtract 5 from this side of the equation. And by sides, what I mean is this equation, this equal sign, splits the equation in two sides. Some people like to write that line, others don't. It's totally up to you. So 5 minus 5, that's 0. So that just cancels out, and I'm left with an x on this left side. But since I minused 5 from the left side, I have to minus 5 from the right side. So 9 minus 5 equals 4. So I have x equals 4. Let's go ahead and double check that that's true. So we're going to take this 4 and we're going to plug it back into here in our original equation. So does 4 plus 5 really equal 9? Yes, it does. Therefore, x equals 4 is my solution. Okay, next, 7 equals x minus 3. All right, let's take a look here. It looks like the operation that's connected to the x is a subtraction. We have a minus 3. The inverse of subtraction is addition. So we're going to add 3 to this side. We're going to add 3 to this side. Okay, negative 3 plus 3 is 0, so it disappears. And I'm just left with an x. And over here, 7 plus 3 is 10. So we got 10 equals x. Let's go ahead. And that is not what I meant to do. Let's go ahead and double check our answer again by taking this 10 and plugging it in right here. 7 equals 10 minus 3. And 10 minus 3 is indeed 7. So, boop, boop. We got our answer. All right, let's look at another one. 20 equals 4 times x. Whenever you have these two things right here that are the variable and it's called a coefficient. That's the number that's sitting in front of the x. Whenever you have those sitting right next to each other, this is known as a multiplication. So they're multiplying right here. Okay, so what's the opposite of multiply? Well, it's divide. So what we're going to do is we're going to divide both sides by 4. So divide this side by 4 and this side by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. So we're left with 1x, which we don't have to write the 1 in front of the x. We can just write the x. And then on the left side, 20 divided by 4 is 5. All right, let's go ahead and double check. Let's take our 5 and plug it in right here. Does 20 equal 4 times 5? Yes, it does. And so we have our answer of 5 equals x. Some people like to write it with the x first. Some people like to prefer to write this as x equals 5. It really doesn't matter. Both of those are correct. It's really your personal preference of what you like to do. Okay, next we have a division problem. So we have x divided by 2. This right here means a division sign. This is division, so it's the same thing as saying x divided by 2. Those are both saying the same thing. So since it's divide, we're going to go ahead and multiply by 2. And what happens is those cancel each other out. And once again, I'm left with 1x. But I'm just going to write the x down. Now, I times by 2 over here. Don't forget to times by 2 over here. 6 times 2 is 12. Therefore, x equals 12. Let's plug it in. Make sure we are correct. So let's take this 12 and plug it in right here. So I'm just going to rewrite it as 12 divided by 2 equals 6. And 12 divided by 2 is indeed equal to 6. So I got my solution. Okay, now this one is a little bit different than what we've looked at so far. Notice this one, we have -4 plus x. So some people get thrown off and they see this plus, so they think we have to subtract. But that's not true. We're paying attention to what's happening to this number right here. So here, this is called a constant. This is a -4, and we want it to disappear because we want x to be isolated. We want x to be by itself. So how do I get rid or cancel out a -4? Well, I'm going to add 4 to it because -4 plus 4 is 0. So they would disappear. So make sure you add 4 over here. And 7 plus 4 is 11. You can draw a line here if you want. And then over here, we only had our x left over. So 11 equals x. Now, let's see if that is actually true. Let's take our 11, plug it in right here. So we got 7 equals -4 plus 11. -4 plus 11 is 7. So awesome. That is correct. So one more of those. Notice here we have 7 equals -2 plus x. Well, the goal is to get x by itself, which means we want to get this 2 away. And the opposite of this -2 or a -2 is +2. So add 2 to both sides. That goes away. 7 plus 2 equals 9. You only have your x left over on this side of the equation. Let's go ahead and double check, make sure that is correct. So take this 9, plug it in here. Does 7 equal -2 plus 9? Indeed it does. So we were able to solve and figure out what our variable represented. That's what was the whole solving. We found our solutions. So go ahead and after you have filled out your guided notes, go ahead and go back and finish your assignment now.